Welcome back, Creature Commandos. That's a show that's out. First major DC project from the rebooted universe, led by James Gunn. Let's talk about it. It's pretty good. It's a good show. There are currently 4 episodes out at the time of recording. I think there's 8 total or something. So we're about. Is that right? Let me look that up. Of 7. There's only 7 episodes. Okay. So we're over halfway through the season, which feels a little crazy, but yeah, it's pretty good show. It's James Gunn. He seems to have written all or most of the episodes, and he's a good writer. So it's quality. Show is a kind of Suicide Squad type situation, which is interesting because it is a direct sequel to both James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Like, they acknowledge events that happened in both of those shows, and then this is taking place in the new rebooted DC universe that's really going to kick off proper with Superman next year, which is also written directed by James Gunn. What does that mean? I'm not sure. I think basically stuff that James Gunn wrote in the old DC extended universe happened, and then everything else, don't worry about it. That seems to be what's the case is so far, because events from Peacemaker mean that Amanda Waller can no longer do her regular Suicide Squad, but if she does a squad of characters who are arguably not human, she can skirt around human rights violations and get away with doing basically the Suicide Squad, but they're monsters.
Because this time, the monsters are we.
They're the universal monsters, except for a couple of them. It's Creature Commandos. And so we got to put together a team of the Universal's Dark Monster universe. The Dark Universe. It's finally here, and James Gunn is doing it in a Suicide Squad show. So the team is the Bride of Frankenstein. Just the Bride of Frankenstein from Frankenstein, the book. We got Weasel, who's a holdover from The Suicide Squad, just a weird weasel man voiced by Sean Gunn. We got Nina, who's a creature from the Black Lagoon lady. We got Dr. Phosphorus, who's like a flaming skeleton man. He's voiced by Alan Tudyk. Nice to see him in some stuff. He's always great to see, and he's a good voice actor. Oh, and we got G.I. Robot, who's maybe my favorite character. He's also voiced by Sean Gunn, so that's, if you're keeping track, a total of 3 characters in the DC universe played by Sean Gunn, and we'll see if that number continues. And then the team is led by Rick Flag Sr., conveniently basically Rick Flag, but they remembered that he died in The Suicide Squad, so this is his dad, who is probably a character for the comics or something. He fills the same role as that Rick Flag usually does in a Suicide Squad thing. The human guy working for Waller that's leading the team. And then we also have just regular Frankenstein, like the monster, who I guess is called Frankenstein. He's not officially on the team yet, but he's been hunting the Bride for centuries at this point. And so he's involved in the ongoing storyline. And then, yeah, it's just it's pretty much what you expect. It's a Suicide Squad thing, kind of. Again, it's the James Gunn thing, so it's a group of wacky characters. They gotta learn to work together as a team. They're outcasts. Society sees them as monsters, but maybe they got feelings too, and we're gonna learn about each of them, and they're all gonna get a little backstory episode where we learn their backstory, and yeah, it's just a competently written show, and and that's nice. I like that. That's good. Each episode so far is focused on a different character. We learn a little bit about their backstory. So the Bride of Frankenstein, for example, we get her backstory, which is just basically the book Frankenstein, but I guess she's immortal, and so is Frankenstein's monster. He's in love with her, but she's not in love with him. There's a bit of a twist with that story, but anyways, they've been around for over 200 years, and he's been constantly trying to pursue her, and she's fucking get away from me. And that's been going on for centuries. So that's kind of fun. I really, really love G.I. Robot, who is this robot designed in the 40s to help kill Nazis, and that's like his main thing. He just loves fucking killing Nazis, and it's awesome. Great character. And yeah, because some of these characters are like weird and immortal or have been around for decades or even centuries, we get to see like a little bit of their backstory and a little bit of like how they've progressed through the ages, and now they're these weird relics from a forgotten time. There's an episode about Weasel, a character of unclear sentience, and yet they made me care about Weasel and made me have feelings about Weasel. Is a little bit cheesy, maybe even a bit on the nose, possibly, but like, fuck, man, I don't know. It's executed well. It's a well-written show. I know I keep saying that, but like, God, is that refreshing. I do have a few gripes with the show. I'm not like in love with the animation style. I feel like everything feels a little bit too clean, and I wish it kind of leaned more into the like hand-drawn 2D aesthetic that they're sort of going for. Also, in some of the action scenes, I feel like, and I'm not an animator, so I don't know like how to articulate like why it feels this way, but I feel like a lot of the hits aren't like registering as like impactful in the way that they should be. Like, you have these characters with super strength and super abilities, and sometimes they'll like punch, and I'm like, oh, that's obviously supposed to feel like a very strong punch, and it just kind of doesn't. Like, it almost feels weightless, like it's not even landing, and it's like it should be landing. It's not like you're faking the choreography. You're like, it's animated. You can just draw them hitting. I don't know. It's like, for some reason, just the impacts don't feel as strong as they should, and I'm not exactly sure how to articulate what specifically is not working for me, because I'm not super, like, I like animation, but I don't know how to do it. It feels like magic to me. So I also don't like want to like criticize stuff too much, because like I don't know how to, I'm shit at drawing, so like I can't do better. There's a couple other things about the fight scenes in particular. I feel like the choreography of the fights are generally pretty good, but they feel kind of like live action fights. Like, they feel like they're designed so that you could shoot them in live action and it would all go well. Like, it doesn't really feel like it's leaning into the strengths of animation. Maybe it's like the character models are too rigid and they're not allowed to like flex and lean into the like squash and stretch type stuff that you can do with animation. The physics don't always have to be like accurate. You could play with it a bit because it's a cartoon. And the other thing is that, like, at least so far, every single fight scene in the show is accompanied with a song of some kind. It is a James Gunn show, so that's like pretty consistent with his style. But like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a little bit tired of that. It's like, do we have to have every fight scene have to have like a upbeat song to go with it? Can we just have like two characters fight? Like, is that allowed? Can we just do that occasionally? I'm hoping that it'll pull back from doing that, like later on in the season, when presumably the stakes will be really high and they'll have more emotional weight to some of the fight scenes, where right now it's been like more fun, wacky stuff because we need to have action in this action cartoon. And not that you can't have a score to a scene or like music to a fight scene at all, but like, does it have to be every single fight scene? Can we have like one fight scene where it's just them fighting and there's not like a pop song playing? Or at the very least have like it be diegetic, where like there's a song playing on the radio, or you know, they're fighting in a diner and the jukebox starts playing. You know, just have it be a little more like organic in the scene than just like, oh, and I guess there's a song playing now because the characters are fighting, and like that's it. The other thing is, this is another HBO Max, like, oh, we don't have to follow the rules, so it's R-rated. Characters say fuck. There's lots of blood and killing. The characters have sex even, and like, wow, isn't that cool? If I was 14, I'd be like, whoa, this is the best show ever. But like, that's just not really a big deal for me anymore. Plus, we've seen like, oh, R-rated edgy superhero stuff like a few times now. Invincible, The Boys, even stuff like The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. There's been a bunch of these already, so I'm not like blown away when a cartoon like has blood in it. So it could just be that I'm like a little bit sick of this trend, and like, it makes sense in the show. These are villain monster characters. They're not gonna play by the rules, man. they would be swearing and killing and having sex and whatever. That's fine. I prefer that to them having to censor what their like vision for the show is. And again, maybe this is more in the like way that it's animated, so that some of the like hits and the action beats like aren't like feeling like they are having the same impact that they theoretically should, because like people are getting their heads blown off and stuff, and it just, I don't know, it's just like washing over me. Like I'm not really going like, whoa, you know, it's just not surprising or shocking at this point because I've seen this stuff before. I feel like Invincible had a much better balance of this too, because they also wouldn't have like extreme violence in every single episode or in every fight scene. But then when it did happen, it was like, oh shit, this is a big deal. And like, it wasn't afraid to kill characters off. Sometimes even when characters survive, they still get fucked up. That's stuff, you know, being adapted from the comic as well. And I feel like that's one of Kirkman's strengths as a writer, is that he's not afraid to, he doesn't pull his punches. He's not afraid to kill characters off. If it furthers the story, he's not afraid to severely injure and debilitate his characters too. So I haven't really seen that from this show yet. But don't get me totally wrong, I don't think that any of the action is like bad or anything. And I never really get tired of seeing Nazis get blown away. So I'm all for that stuff. I just want like a little more like oomph to some of these fight scenes. As much as I've rambled about that, it's really more of a nitpick. And overall, the show, I'm really enjoying it, and I think the characters are fun. I'm liking some of the world building they're doing for this DC universe. We're just like, yeah, here's a bunch of stuff and a bunch of characters that exist in this world, and we're just gonna learn about them as we go. I think that's a great approach. And it also gets me excited for Superman and some of the other James Gunn DC projects going forward, which is really refreshing. It's a level of excitement and confidence in this creative team that I haven't felt from Marvel in a little while now. Like, this is a good show, so the James Gunn DC universe is 1 for 1 as of right now. Or if you want to count his previous 2 projects that are loosely connected, then he's 3 for 3. So yeah, like I'm on board for the ride. I'm ready to see. I'm happy to see where it goes. And unlike Marvel, that's been inconsistent to just bad the last few years, I don't really have that confidence or that excitement for any of their upcoming projects. I would like Daredevil Born Again to be good, but apart from like the cast being there, I don't really like have a reason to trust that it will be. Whereas James Gunn's Superman, although this is a very different character than some of his other projects, I have confidence in him as a writer and a creator, and I'm genuinely excited to see the direction of this new universe. I want to be excited for these projects, and I have the confidence in the creative team to actually be excited. And that's a nice feeling. Also, I think it's really cool that DC is letting a writer-director be the driving force like of their universe and of their like DC Studios production line. What a cool gig, first of all. And second of all, it's a lot more like exciting to see how an actual like creative person will take on that job. Because like, we had Kevin Feige over at Marvel, but he's not a writer, he's a producer. He's a very good producer, but a producer's job isn't to make quality stories, it's to make money by producing successful products. So while that's worked out well for Marvel in the past, like recently, the quality of the like overall material they're putting out is just not as consistent as it used to be. And I don't know, if they don't turn that around soon, I feel like they're gonna just continue having stuff go downhill and not make money, which is too bad, because I think there is a lot of potential there and a lot of stuff that like could be cool and exciting. But you have to have like a plan and like a real direction that you're going in, which is something I feel like James Gunn actually does have, because he's a writer and is thinking about those things. One other thing I wanted to mention, this is one of the only animated shows I can think of, that I've ever seen at least, that has an opening credits where the voice actors are named in the opening credits. Leave a comment if there's another example, but I can't think of any. I can think of many animated shows that have had opening credits and opening theme songs, and often ones will have like title cards for like the different characters that are in the show, but I can't think of one that actually credits the voice actors. And usually there is like some opening credits in animated shows, but a lot of the times it's like the producers involved who created the show, sometimes the writer and the director of the episode. But I really can't think of another animated show that actually credits the voice actors that are in the show in the opening theme song. So that's a really cool detail. I like that a lot. And of course, the idea here is that a lot of these actors are going to, at some point, or will have the potential to reprise these character roles in live action as well. That's like part of the synergy that they're planning for the DC universe, is like animated stuff and live action stuff. And I think they said they want to do video games too at some point. We'll have consistent casts across the board, which would be cool if it works out. I think part of the fun of doing an animated show on like these monster characters is you don't have to worry about the budget of like how to make a Frankenstein lady look good in live action, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. I just thought it was cool to see the voice actors' names in the opening credits of a show. I can't think of another time that that's happened. But that's it so far for this video. What do you think? Are you watching Creature Commandos? Yeah, not a huge surprise here, but once again, DC is pretty good at making animated stuff. What do you think? You like it? You on board? Are you tired of having Suicide Squad shows? Because there's a lot of them now. And I know this is the Creature Commandos. It's technically slightly different, but the base premise is pretty much the same. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you excited for Superman and the rest of DC's, James Gunn's, Warner Brothers' new DC universe? And thank you, as always, for watching. I will see you next time with something else. Bye-bye.